I'm Katie, your financial planner, and I'm going to show you how financial planning is as easy as baking a cake. So let's head over to the store and get our ingredients. Right here is everything we need. We have all the ingredients, but before you buy these products, you need to consider how you're going to pay. With cash, credit, or with a check. Cash happens to be the easiest way. To use credit, there are some questions you might want to ask yourself, like, could you use credit in a better way? Could you put off buying the item for a while? And what are the costs of using credit? But before you use that credit card, you need to know that if you do not pay the bill in full, you will be charged interest on the amount you have not been paid. Don't let me scare you away from using a credit card, because there are also advantages to them. Like, if you don't have money right now, you can pay for a good with a credit card and pay for them later when you have money. Credit cards are also great for shopping online and traveling. You can also use a check to pay for goods. To do this, you need a checking account. And there are three main categories: regular, activity, and interest earning. Regular checking accounts usually do not require a minimum balance, but if your account does require a minimum balance and your balance goes below the minimum, you are required to pay a monthly service fee. The next category is an activity account. This account is for those who do not write checks every day and only a few times a month. The downside is that you will be charged a fee every time you write a check, but you do not need to keep a minimum balance. The final category is interest earning checking account. This account is a combination of a checking and savings account. You get interest if you keep your balance above the minimum, but if you go below the minimum balance, you don't earn any interest and possibly pay a service charge. Now that's done, let's get cooking. To start your financial plan, we're going to start with the 6 steps. Each step is represented by an ingredient. Step 1 is determine your current situation, represented by flour. This is everything you have right now, so your savings, monthly income, monthly expenses, and your debts. Look at all of these and determine your financial situation. Step 2 is develop your financial goals, represented by cocoa. This step is where you decide what you want to save for. Is it college, a car, your retirement? The choice is up to you. Step 3 of identifying your options is represented by salt, baking soda, and sugar. For identifying your options are current situation, start something new, or continue the same course of action. The choice is all up to you. Step 4 of evaluate your alternatives is represented by oil and vinegar. This step is where we take our options and consider the consequences and risks of each option. You may say that taking the same course of action will take too long to bring you your goal of saving up for college, so you might save an extra $20 every month. Step 5 of create and use your financial plan of action is represented by vanilla. This step is where your financial plan goes into action. It could be saving $10 every month or saving $50, whatever your financial plan is. The last step, step 6 of review and revise your plan, is represented by water. This step is the most important. The only way your financial plan is going to work for you is when your finances change, so does your financial plan. Now that your 6 steps are done, you have the base of your financial plan. Now, you need to look for a job. You can look for jobs in some key places like job advertisements, job fairs, and employment agencies. After you found a job, it's like you've mixed half of your ingredients already. The next thing to do after finding a job is to create a personal balance sheet. A personal balance sheet is also called net worth. To find your net worth is easy. Just take your assets and subtract them from your liabilities. Your assets are items that you own like cash, property, personal possessions, and investments. For example, all the measuring utensils I own are assets. Next, we find liabilities, which are debts that you owe. When doing this, make sure you include everything from medical bills to cars to student loans or your mortgage. For example, all the measuring utensils I used are my liabilities. We then take our liabilities and subtract our assets from them. This gives you your net worth. This balance sheet will help you understand your financial position and can help track your financial process. Now you have Now, let's be honest, you do not want to live in your parents' house forever. You probably want to move out now, but you need to save up some money. And after saving up money, you need to understand and research different types of housing. There are 6 different types of housing. A single-family dwelling. This is the most common housing in the United States of America. It's not attached to any other buildings, it usually stands on a separate lot, and this housing offers the most privacy out of all of the other types of housing, but it is the most expensive. Another type of housing is the multi-unit dwelling. They are duplexes and townhouses. This is one building split into 2 or 3 parts for each family. Another type of housing is a condominium. It is a group of apartments or townhouses that a person owns instead of rents. The owners of the condominiums pay to cover maintenance, repairs, improvements, insurance, and for the common areas. The next type of housing is a cooperative housing. It is another apartment-like living. This is a building that contains units owned by a non-profit organization. The members of the organization don't own the property, they pay a monthly fee to cover rent and operating expenses. Another type of housing is called the prefabricated homes, which are houses made and partly assembled at a factory and then moved and completed at the building site. These houses are cheaper than single-family houses because they are done in mass production. Finally, we have mobile homes. These are fully made in factories and mostly inexpensive. They do not increase in value at the same rate as a single-family house. Today, we are going to go with the single-family dwelling. Now we're going to pour in the batter and move this cake to the oven. Our cake is done cooking, but we have one more thing to cover, and that is wills. A will tells people where you want all your belongings to go after you have died. There are 4 different types of wills. The first is a simple will. This will leaves everything to your spouse, but it does have a super high taxation. The next type of will is a traditional marital share will. This will leaves half of your estate to your spouse and the other half to your children or other heirs. Next is the exemption trust will. This will lets all assets go to the spouse except for a certain amount which goes into a trust. This can provide the spouse with a lifelong income that will not be taxed. The final will is a stated dollar amount will. This will allows you to pass a certain amount to your spouse that satisfies your family's financial goals. Though state laws may dictate how much you leave to your spouse, states also have laws stating when and how portions of an estate must go to beneficiaries. In this case, we will say that I had a traditional marital share will where half of the estate, or cake, will go to my spouse and the other to my kids. Basics of financial planning. And look at that! It was a piece of cake!